You're watching Telecom TV's Spotlight on 5G series. It's Thursday, the 29th of February, and this is The Slice. Headlines today: positioning Open RAN for the evolution of 5G, why telcos need to collaborate on LLMs and AI, Deutsche Telekom's cloud strategy for 5G core, and a vision of the services of tomorrow. Hello, I'm Guy Daniels and welcome to Thursday's edition of The Slice. It's the final day of MWC Barcelona. All week we have been bringing you daily coverage of the major 5G related news and analysis from this year's event. I've been reporting from the TelecomTV studio, while my editorial colleagues Maistre and Yanitsa Boyadzhieva have been pounding the show floor. And Yani is joining us now. Yani, it's the final countdown, one more day to get through. What's the mood like at MWC this year? Because with so many telecoms companies announcing job cuts and reducing costs, has this in any way diminished the excitement and energy around the event?
Hi Guy, that's a great question. Yes, indeed it is the final day of the show this year. What we have been seeing in terms of the general mood of industry participants, industry experts, is that everyone seems to be quite excited, quite ready to take upon new challenges, to make some new developments, create new use cases, to demonstrate how they're using new technologies such as AI, how they are opening the networks and how this will bring more efficiencies. Everyone seems to be focused more towards that side. They are looking into the future and what could be enabled, what potential the industry still has to unleash going forward. So I would say we don't see that kind of low mood and despair related to obviously the job losses, the job cuts, the necessary reductions in operating costs that we see across multiple telco giants. It seems like the industry is in sort of a bubble, in its own bubble, at the show at least for these few days.
Yeah, nice description. That's often the case with big shows like that. But it is good to see focus on services and the customer. Now, Yani, you've been closely following developments in the green network for us for a number of years now. It feels though that maybe energy efficiency has been downplayed this year. Ray was saying something along those lines yesterday on the programme. And perhaps now it's just one of several approaches to achieving overall operational efficiencies. What's your take? What are you seeing?
I would actually agree with this notion. Definitely green networks, sustainability, the focus on environmental efficiencies, this is still a priority. This is still part of the telcos and the vendors' agenda. However, what I can see on the show floor at telcos stands is, while there is some place for sustainability, it hasn't been front and center for many of the companies, unfortunately, but what we can see is that it is still an important topic. Maybe it will be increasingly so in the future when the targets for achieving those really important goals for reducing carbon footprint, maybe when these targets get very close and the deadlines are approaching, this is when we'll see things picking up in terms of really demonstrating how the industry is moving along these important agendas.
Yeah, very interesting, and let's hope so. Thanks very much, Yani. We will catch up with you and Ray later in the show for your analysis of the final day of MWC. Lots to get through today. We have 4 CSP interviews for you. Yes, we are spoiling you. Plus more vendor and partner news to wrap up the week. Planning for a successful long-term evolution of telecoms networks is no easy task. Whilst operators are unwilling to talk too much about 6G, it is inevitable that today's networks will need to seamlessly work with tomorrow's technology. Yet there are so many different pieces in play, and at some point they have to all come together. Now, one of the key technologies to bridge this gap will be Open RAN. And we spoke to Telefónica's group CTO, Enrique Blanco, and asked him for an update on his Open RAN strategy and why the industry now needs to accelerate its efforts to scale the technology.
The point is that this solution needs to be massively deployed. And this is something that we don't have still in our hand. If you think in the next cycle of 6G, it is just impossible to think in a 6G deployment in the next future if we do not disaggregate the antennas and the software. This is because it is so relevant, because the architecture. 6G cycle, it will be done with an disaggregated Open RAN solution in all the world. And we need to be ready trying to do it in the next 2-3 years.
Right.
So this is because we are pushing so far. It is not only about the architecture, it's how you are managing the architecture, how you are including the real AI capabilities, trying to helping us to manage in a zero-touch network. This is because we are pushing so hard, and to be honest, what I see today in all the industry and my colleagues, I'm extremely optimistic.
Always great to hear from Enrique. He had a lengthy chat with Ray and also covered virtualization, data and AI, network APIs and sustainability. You can watch it now on the TelecomTV website. The question of when to use public cloud or private cloud, multi-cloud or hybrid, comes up time and again during our DSP Leaders Summit panels. It's very dependent on workloads and use cases and can be different from telco to telco. We spoke to Deutsche Telekom's CTO, Abdu Mudesir, and asked him about his cloud infrastructure strategy and specifically about its use for the telco's 5G core.
For our IT workload, we've been using the public cloud, and then we have some NT functions which are very IT-like, more OSS kind of NT functions, for which we use also public cloud, or even we're working with the hyperscalers on edge deployment.
Okay.
Now, if you look at specifically your question on our 5G core deployment, both in Germany and in our European operation, we actually are using our private cloud, which is vanilla Kubernetes, specifically customized for our need. Do we believe we will be able to scale this globally? No, but this gives us an option while the industry is evolving to be able to address our specific need of a very highly sensitive data, customer data, that we can't get out of our own premises, and also the performance requirement that we have.
Abdu also spoke at length about AI and data and Deutsche Telekom's progress on disaggregation and Open RAN. You can watch the full interview on the TelecomTV website. The MWC conference keynote opened this year with a commitment to the GSMA's Open Gateway initiative, the association's framework of common network APIs. Whilst it's still early days with limited operator rollouts, there has been some commercial adoption that demonstrates the significance of this initiative. Telefónica is one of the major backers of Open Gateway, and it has already partnered with global social media company TikTok to adopt its APIs.
We've been working with Telefónica for quite a few years on a handful of different initiatives, and we're so excited about this newest one today with partaking in Open Gateway. All around the world, people come to TikTok every single day to create, consume, and connect with each other. And you can imagine how important it is to have a perfect user experience when people come onto our platform. In order to do that, we need to focus on how TikTok is safe, secure, and information stays private. And the Open Gateway initiative, specifically around number verification, is quite important to us as we think about how do we have a seamless user experience that focuses on that privacy, that is a global standard, that is one that feels safe and secure. And we are elated about starting this partnership in Brazil with that opportunity to expand to other markets all around the world.
Hopefully we'll see more developers adopting network APIs this year. And TelecomTV has a new online summit in March, Telco as a Platform, which will be highlighting this work. So do get in touch if you want to take part. The Global Telco AI Alliance held its first meeting on Monday and announced plans to establish a joint venture between its members, SK Telecom, Deutsche Telekom, E&D Group, Singtel and SoftBank. We spoke with SK Telecom's Chief AI Global Officer to find out more about its plans, which started back in 2022 when it first unveiled a strategy to become an AI company.
We started some internal capacity development, so we would develop our own LLM. And after that, we made a few progress by collaborating with outside. So one is that we are investing on Anthropic and working together with them, and also we are working together with OpenAI and hyperscaler companies to collaborate and using their technology for our internal transformation. And also we were working together with peer telco companies and making global telco AI alliance. Yesterday we just announced our term sheet signing with them to make a joint venture together. So maybe during this year we finalize the founding the company together, and we'll commercialize the telco LLM together with them.
You can watch the full interview on the TelecomTV website, where you can also read more coverage of the Global Telco AI Alliance. For our final CSP interview this year, we spoke with Maria Cuevas, who is Networks Research Director at BT Applied Research. We wanted to find out more about the future impact of quantum-safe networking and how this factors into today's security challenges.
Security is super important to the whole of BT. Providing secure communications to our customers is what we do. And of course, knowing that there is quantum coming round the corner. Nobody knows exactly when, but we do see that happening, and we do believe strongly that that is the next big thing, if you like, happening across industry. We see that as both an opportunity and a threat, of course, as always, with new technologies. We see the opportunity for quantum, and we are also exploring ways to leverage quantum for our own planning and networking capabilities, but we also see the threat, and of course the bad actors out there wanting to perhaps attack not just ourselves but our customers.
The full interview with Maria, along with all the other CSPs interviews we conducted this week, will be available to watch on demand on the TelecomTV website. As always, MWC generates a significant amount of news, more than we can feature in the slice. So for the very latest from MWC, make sure you visit TelecomTV, especially the daily What's Up With report. And also please subscribe to our long-running 7 a.m. Insights newsletter. Comprehensive news and analysis delivered straight to your email inbox. And next week, it's time for the after show, when we analyse the major developments from MWC with our studio guests. I spoke to Telecom TV's deputy editor, Yanitsa Boyadzhieva, at the start of the show. So let's now return to the show floor for analysis from Yani and editorial director Ray Lemaitre.
So here we are, day 4 at MWC 24 in Barcelona. It feels like we've been here for 2 weeks, but every day seems to have lasted only 2 minutes. I'm not quite sure how that works out, but that's how it's felt. But it's been a great week. We've had a lot of great conversations, seen a lot of really exciting developments on the show floor. I've managed to talk to a number of operators, CTOs, and there's been a common theme in what they've been talking about as they've developed their more cloud-native, cloud-oriented platforms. They're starting to see real efficiency gains from being able to run multiple software-defined applications and processes on these platforms. And they're talking about gains of from months to days and even down to minutes in some of the important processes that they have to go through. So this is a real extension of what's been happening in the past 10 years. It started with network functions virtualization, but we really are reaching the cloud native telco era. and these operators are starting to feel the benefits. And one of the things that's delivering these benefits is the use of AI tools in a lot of these processes, getting a lot of efficiency gains there. And Yani, I mean, AI has really been the star of this year's MWC, hasn't it?
It has been indeed, Ray. AI has dominated the show floor, the discussions, the conversations, the sessions this year, unsurprisingly, of course, because as we know, AI is set to have a very, very significant impact on the industry as a whole, and also the services it delivers. So here on the show floor, I managed to walk around, see some of the innovative use cases of the technology and how it can run operations, run contact centers more efficiently, and also provide some interesting consumer use cases as well.
One of the biggest topics at the event, AI, cropped up across various demonstrations on the show floor. Among the main attractions was an AI-powered hologram of a personal assistant called Emma, showcased by Deutsche Telekom. The assistant is in the form of an avatar and is designed to be a digital companion in a user's everyday life. The solution can answer questions, check and control usage of the home network, and even conduct holographic video calls. SK Telecom was all about AI at its stand. Highlight was placed on its initiative to build telco-specific large language models. The operator used the show floor to demonstrate how the technology can transform telco operations in the contact center and deliver enhanced cybersecurity. The South Korean operator also showed an AI wearable which is hands-free, screen-free, and app-free. It can answer questions and take pictures, and it can even light this up on a user's palm. Orange also placed focus on AI, highlighting its use for gaming applications. Another notable trend among telcos demonstrations this year showed their increased openness as part of the GSMA's Open Gateway initiative. In one demonstration, visitors at the Telefónica stand used VR glasses to immerse themselves in a multi-camera sports event, an uninterrupted experience that was enabled by the Open Gateway APIs. In another immersive demo, Telefónica allowed visitors to engage in a multiplayer game using extended reality, haptic sensory technology, fiber, and edge computing.
We need to remember that this show is also really about connectivity at its heart. A lot of talk about 5G, of course, but there was a really interesting new solution revealed this week using a technology called Li-Fi. Now, this has been around for years already, and it uses, it's basically the optical version of Wi-Fi that uses light instead of radio to transmit data. And this company, Pure Li-Fi, which is based in Scotland, has developed a product that can tackle one of the main issues that's going to be a problem for mobile operators in the years to come, and that's getting the millimeter wave broadband signals from the outside to inside buildings and inside homes. Now, one of the other main topics at the show as well has been network APIs. That's been a big topic, and you've been seeing some of the output of that on the show floor, haven't you, Yani?
Yes, indeed, Ray. Network APIs have been on the spotlight this year. It's been actually 1 year since the GSMA introduced the Open Gateway initiative, which has to do with opening the telco network so that developers can build upon some new and exciting use cases, something that obviously this industry needs more of.
Yeah, that's right, Yani. I've been hearing a lot about this topic as well. It's been one of the big talking points at MWC 24. But there's a bit of an elephant in the room with network APIs, and that's around the economics. Who's paying for what? Who's taking what kind of cut from any fee that's paid? There's no consensus in the industry around this. Nobody really knows who's going to make money or how much money they're going to make from this. It's clearly something that all the operators are getting on board with. There's lots of API launches, lots of partnerships being developed. But at the end of the day, all of these companies want to make money. So I'm sure that during the course of the next year, this is going to be a big bone of contention. There'll be a lot of development around this, and I'm sure we'll hear a lot more about it in Barcelona at MWC 25. See you next year.
It's not just the operators that have been making the news at MWC. There have been plenty of announcements and developments from vendors. Here's today's roundup of our partner highlights.
5G was enabling us to create the very strong platform, and 5G Advanced is to enable us to harvest. So if we just kind of open it up, I think we have done amazing things in the first year of 5G, what we call initial wave of 5G, while building a very strong capabilities and building low band, mid band, high band, enabling ecosystem, moving traffic from legacy 4G to 5G. And then now we have billions of devices, we have hundreds of networks, and we see that in the lead markets, the 5G traffic bypass 4G. Which means that the platform is now ready with advanced capabilities at the next wave, and 5G Advanced for us is more and more and more and more, so we can harvest. So simply, we will lead more performance, but more importantly, more services, more monetization, because all the capabilities are there to be waited for the harvesting. And to be able to do that, we need automation, and that's a very important part of 5G Advanced, AI automation. And finally, of course, we need to do all these things in a sustainable way, so we cannot lose our sight from giving more, but doing with less. So that's my simple definition between what was 5G and what is new with 5G Advanced.
Ian, there was a Red Hat blog recently published about the work that you two have been doing together around AI. So can you tell us maybe a little bit more about that?
One of the key things about AI and kind of what's going on in the industry together is that in order to actually deliver what the end customer wants is I can't just collect all this data and then attempt to do math on all this stuff all at once. So you actually have to pick the KPIs for the customer out of that application and apply the math to that specifically to deliver that business outcome. Right? So that's really kind of our approach to how we solve this together for that business, to apply the right KPI, do the math on that, and have a feedback loop to go improve on the application and on the infrastructure that's running underneath it.
So AI and 6G are getting spoken about at this year's MWC, as you know. But why do you think it is the case? And what is AMD's position and offering for this area?
So, as you know, 6G, you have to start talking about something far in advance before it arrives. So everybody is saying 6G arriving in the 2030, but we as a technology provider, we need to be ready by that time. And so that means that we're already engaging our technology platforms into proof of concept with large vendors in order to be ready when the standards will evolve and when people will look to deploy it. And we are expecting 6G proof of concept to be in the 2028, 2027, so which will be in advance compared to the 2030 deployment. So that's the reason why people are starting to talk about it. There is another reason why, which is the AI. And I think that we will discuss more about the 6G and the AI together as well.
Jeppe, give us the HPE perspective on this and your thoughts on what you've heard so far.
The HPE perspective. I'm going to follow Suk-geun and say I think the use cases you bring are extremely exciting. I think the one use case that we talk to our customers about most often is chat with your data. And I think you brought it up. I mean, this is the idea of having this ability to actually not just talk with ChatGPT or another language model, but actually your own data, investigating your own data, like knowledge bases, providing quick answers in customer support. I think that's the number one use case we see at the moment. I think that's the number one that companies and our customers think can bring their fastest return on investment and also fastest to deploy, right? There's another thing that when listening to you guys, and I mean, it's really, really interesting to you're applying it already today, right? We're only in the very, very beginning of what is expected to be like a 10-year journey.
Can you elaborate more on the role that VMware RAN provides in terms of the RAN intelligent controller, or the RIC as you call it, I know, and its programmability and exposure?
So with the VMware RAN Intelligent Controller, the one that we're specifically using for this demonstration is our near real-time RAN Intelligent Controller. And that provides fine time-grained metrics and also very quick control loop timing. So we can provide user-specific, subscriber-specific metrics very quickly for these short-form videos. Because as Pablo was saying, once the user gets that spinning wheel of death, they're going to opt out, swipe past that video. right? And so by getting these quick metrics and quick time control loops, we can provide that to the API layer. And then the API layer provides those metrics. And metrics we use are things like throughput, network congestion, things that then these applications can use to adjust their prefetch, their buffering, their codecs. And so giving their user a much better experience.
The press release also mentions performance results that validate the telco-grade performance and reliability of multi-vendor Open RAN technology. Can you expand a little bit further on that?
Yeah, performance has been a key criteria for any operator considering Open RAN. Vodafone, for example, has been very vocal about the performance of traditional RAN versus Open RAN, in all cases 4G and 5G. And what we find is that if the integration points in the stack are well tuned, that they actually can work generally better. And I think that's one of the reasons TELUS chose Wind River, because of our experience with companies like Vodafone, KDDI, and Verizon, that we've built this sort of rock solid ecosystem that they can count on and they can rely on as they continue their journey into Open RAN.
Over the week, we have featured many interviews, demos and roundtable discussions with our vendor partners, and I'd like to take this opportunity to thank all of our sponsors and partners this year. Well, that's all for today's edition of The Slice and for this year's daily MWC coverage. But please join us next week on Thursday the 7th of March for the return of the After Show, when Ray and I will discuss the major news and developments to come out of MWC Barcelona. Until then, thank you for watching and goodbye.